Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out some tracks off of an album called Potatoes on Mars by Andrea Pizzo. And if we switch over to here, we have it on Spotify. We're going to be listening to 6 of these tracks today. We've got a little bit of information about the album here. The lyrics of these songs are all written by Raffaella Turbino and Andrea Pizzo, except Among the Stars and Go Fishing in the Ocean of Enceladus, which see the intervention together with Riccardo Morello. The music is by Andrea Pizzo, Riccardo Morello, and Roberto Taranti. All the instruments are played by Roberto Taranti, except the piano in Jupiter and the Galilean moons played by Riccardo Morello, the kalimba and the hangpan by Andrea Pizzo, the theremin and Go Fishing in the Ocean of Enceladus played by Stefano Bertoli. All the songs are sung by Andrea Pizzo except Go Fishing in the Ocean of Enceladus, which sees the participation of Riccardo Morello, Roberto Taranti, and Antonella Suella as bass soprano. The choirs in the disc are by Andrea Pizzo and Roberto Taranti, and the recited part of Jupiter and the Galilean moons is by Raffaella Turbino, that of Pale Blue Daughters by Maria Elena Pizzo. Cool. So we're going to listen through 6 of these tracks today. The first of these is going to be Keeping on Searching. We're going to listen through them start to finish. Here we think. Let's go. Where are we going with this? Keep on searching.
I don't know anything about the call of living in this soul. Keep searching.
It's sort of surreal and ethereal, isn't it?
The truth, it's worth going forward because it's all we are.
I like the space themes that Andrea Pizzo puts into their music. You know, I'm loving the idea of Potatoes on Mars. It's such an innocent, cute idea. I'm loving the enthusiasm and the energy in those really high notes that get sung. I'm liking the warbly harmony sections and those guitar pieces, you know, those guitar sections as well. It's great so far. Oh, the guitar and the drums.
Never let it go. Away from your path, never more. I keep wondering why universe expands and what's out of it or inside a rock. I don't know anything or how to explain the mystery of life and then again. I believe I won't find a place to my quest in this world life for many more.
Just before we get into the next section, it might be a chorus, I'm not quite sure. I'm liking these overdrive guitars. I wasn't expecting there to be this overdrive at the start. I'm liking the rock tonalities to it. It kind of sounds euphoric. It kind of sounds that there's hope. You know, when we talk about not stopping and keeping going and seeing what the possibilities are, it does sound like an uplifting accompaniment to the story that's being told. There's a little bit more solemn here, of course. That's just balance within a composition, isn't it?
Searching without many hopes, but it worth your life, you're an after more. Never give it up, never let it go. Away from your path, never more. Many people try keeping on the track to discovery for curiosity, but even in the face, it can still remain when you keep on fighting this with everything.
I should also note, while I remember, I can see here Andrea Pizzo and the Purple Mice. Andrea Pizzo and the Purple Mice. Oh, this guitar solo is sick, dude. There's some tapping going on here. Some nice bends as well, with a bit of an effects chain on there as well, some chorus or something like that. It's got like a kind of prog rock experimental vibe to it, which I kind of appreciate. Nice harmonies here, great development at the end. Oh, were those repeaters? Did we repeat that melody and have it going for like the whole note repeat or something like that? That's kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting that. That's kind of clever because it allows you to take a really deep breath for the next part. That bass line is so energetic, isn't it? It just rolls around the place, that bass line. I've got a lot of love for that, and it sounds really present in the mix as well. So they've got the balancing act and the production handled really well, and I think having those power chords, or even those sort of more sort of neutral sounding barish chords, maybe with distortion, maybe they were playing it clean, I'm not sure, playing it simple with the overall extensions, I'm not sure, but the bass line follows the fretboard really well, and it's scintillating to listen to. Oh, and it's finished. Well, that was a fun introduction, and what I'm really enjoying is the fact that these guys have got so many plays on it. Like, look, there's like 300k plays. That's amazing. Well done to Andrea Pizzo and everyone else involved. That's excellent. I can see here it's not just this one. There's a bit of love. There's a lot of love across most of these, eh? Like, none of these have got less than 5-figure plays. It impresses me because, it's difficult to get exposure nowadays for music, like organic exposure. And for people to have paid attention to the entirety of the album, like, this is just chef's kiss, man. Great work. It makes me feel confident. And it's a shame, when you got these artists that are just coming out and they don't get that over that 1,000 views on Spotify. It's like, oh, but how do I know if it's good, or have they just not been discovered? That isn't the case with Andrea. They've earned their keep. And the song Keep On Searching is a fantastic introduction to this album. I enjoy it a lot. We've got Song of Nothing here, track number 2. This is very different, isn't it? We had this A-B structure to Keep On Searching. We had those more somber, warbly sections with the vibrato and the modulation of perceived loudness. And we're coming in here with some more somber, starry, acoustic arpeggios.
The sun is setting down, leaving red reflections on the sea. We are looking at the shore of life, in and everything passes by.
It is a very sort of it's a very sad song. I hate using the word sad because it's such a basic word to use, but it fits the vibe so well. Seems like a song of loss. A song of nothing.
Nothing will remain of us. You wonder if it was really indeed. You wonder if it was true, or just a cruel illusion created by some mocking wizard just to make.
That higher range on those vocals sits really well with those stereo panned synth pads that you had there. And the guitar parts that have been double tracked. I adore this, dude. It's really interesting to listen to. The production's great, but also there's been consideration in regards to the different elements of the mix and how they'll fit together. Some more old bass there.
Maybe one day some memories arise, and you'll remember something about us.
Kind of makes me feel like there's a bit of an existential crisis going on, Thinking that there was something and then realizing, oh, did it ever really exist?
Nothing will remain except some shreds of records faded by time. You wonder if it was true, or just a cruel illusion created by some mocking wizard to make up.
Cruel illusion made by some wizards. So we got some fantasy themes in here. It kind of rolls with those 80-ish sounding pads that we get here, those synth strings that we're having. It sounds very colorful, very mysterious, like we're lost in the mist. We're in that range, aren't we? We're in that high range there. Nice steel string solo here.
If you can remember me.
Oh, major shift.
My voice, my words, my song for you are moments you know they're
Okay.
nothing at all.
That was fun. That was like, it was obviously an interlude, wasn't it? It was a twist. It was a turn, you know? It was a different consideration there. I assume we're going back into the hook now.
Nothing will remain of us. You wonder if it was really me. Then we'll survive in adulthood and soul. Different and new day after day. Forever.
Nice to have those lower vocals in there, really balance out that overall harmony there. It was a nice amount of low end that wasn't as present. I think partly because of how well the bass is mixed, but also it's just the coloration in those low mids that I think the song needed, and I'm glad it came at the end. It's really charming. It's really charming music, you know? It does give you this idea of going through space and wondering where your place in the world is within it. You know, wondering whether you are going to be able to stay where you are. I mean, I'm assuming we're potatoes on the Mars. Maybe we needed to move away from the Earth, you know? Maybe we're wondering if there are alternatives and we move somewhere else in order to have a better chance at a better future. I'm not sure. It's fascinating stuff. It really is. It's not like a lot of the stuff I hear when I do these reviews. A lot of it is more sort of grounded in the everyday struggles people have. But I like that Andrea Pizzo kind of like takes a different angle with it. You know, she's not just trying to go for the. I like that they go for a different angle with it. You know, they're not just trying to go for that typical that typical animal mundane. This happened 5 years ago, and I'm sad about it still, or the opposite, you know, I'm really glad that this happened. It's more of an overall concept kind of fantasy kind of thing. Or I dig that. I dig that a lot. I think it's really cool. And both these songs were interesting to listen to, well performed, and, you know, it's fun. It's fun stuff, although it sounds kind of sad at the same time. We got Among the Stars, number 3. Oh, very funky, dude. Very funky. I'm loving these instruments in here. We have obviously we have bass guitar. Do we have an organ there or like a keyboard or something like that?
Morning, the future will be great. There's nothing more exciting than being among the stars.
Ah, true. I have to actually mention something. I've actually reviewed Among the Stars before by Andrea Pizzo. I've actually reviewed this song. I'm not sure if I should review this. I feel like if I'm going to review 6 tracks, they should be new ones. But I thoroughly recommend that if you haven't listened to Among the Stars, that you go check that out. It's a really good track. We'll do Potatoes on Mars. We'll go for Potatoes on Mars. Oh, okay.
Scientists say that Mars was plenty of water.
Oh, I get it.
And many rivers floated over that land. Can't you see the circle of life going up and down? Do you believe you could explore a new strange wasteland? Can't you see the circle of life going up and down? Do you believe you could harvest potatoes on Mars?
It's a fun tone, like these kind of country bum-a-da-da-bum. Got that train rhythm going with the bass lines of the guitar and bass parts, and then the drums with the. It kind of, I guess it kind of works because it kind of like Potatoes on Mars and lots of water and horticulture and stuff like that. You might be thinking that like it's about farmers and stuff like that, right? Oh, I broke it. Hang on.
The sun became too bright for the celestial body, and solar wind rid off the planet atmosphere water disappear. Can't you see the circle of life going up and down? Do you believe you could live on that planet one
Okay, I like we're talking about the circle of life and how we're looking at different expansions within it. The music is fairly supportive and positive and uplifting. You know, it's more supportive of the vocals at this point in time. I'd like to see what we do with the other instruments in the mix aside from the vocals, but the story is engaging enough. Nice harmonies there as well. Oh, there we go. That change of voicing in the lead melody. That change of texture. There's a really luscious tone to that guitar there, you know. There is an effects channel that I'm not quite sure of the combination of elements that we have there within that. But it sounds like it's kind of floating by on a cloud. It's sounding very present within the mix. I think that's a smart move. Because while the rest of the elements are getting very laid back, it's still, you don't want to just assume that your guitar is going to sit on there nicely. You've got to put that little bit of extra work in to really make sure you got it all sorted.
Millions of grains of dust settle down on our robots. Millions of grains of dust turning off the rise. Millions of grains of dust buried up the leaves. But we are still here, trying to understand and to survive.
It kind of the song sounds very pragmatic, you know, talking about we're still trying to survive. It's almost like saying, yo, we're gonna put our heads down and we'll figure this out as we go along. I'm liking that balance between the intensity of the situation, the potential stress involved. You know, it's great. It's not getting too dark, you know. I enjoy that a lot.
Can't you see the circle of life going up and down? Do you believe you could explore new strange wasteland? Can't you see the circle of life going up and down? Do you believe you could harvest potatoes on Mars? Can't you
Okay, now before we go any further, I want to give a shout out to I know I mentioned the backing vocals, but what's really cool from the production standpoint is that we have two different takes of those higher octave parts on either side of the stereo field. It just makes the vocals sound huge, especially when they're in unison with the main one. You know, this is definitely more of a single. I can assume we're probably going to repeat the chorus here. It's very conservative. Oh, good. Thank you. We have little bits of change with the drums. I appreciate that. We're not just copy and pasting it.
Can't you see the circle of life going up and down? Do you believe you could harvest potatoes on Mars?
We have got that organ there. Excellent work. Slide guitars. And we got a fade out on that. I wasn't expecting a fade out, but I kind of dig that. Well done, Andrea Pizzo. Potatoes on Mars. Yeah, I can understand why they's got a bit of love. You know, 138K. That's a bit of an understatement, isn't it? That's a lot of people vibing to Potatoes on Mars. The self-titled, off of the Potatoes on Mars album. I think it's an uplifting piece of music. You know, when you compare it with the Song of Nothing, which is a little bit more sort of like, you know, how do I describe Song of Nothing in comparison to this? This is a bit of a lighter take on it, I think, like that. This is a bit more easily digestible than some of the other tracks, you know. Like Song of Nothing. Keep On Searching is more optimistic, obviously, but Potatoes and Mars, people can vibe with that. It's a fun thing to make a song about. It's great. I was initially going to review Jupiter and the Galilean Moons, but it's 9 minutes 30, and usually my limit for like songs in these reviews is like 7.5, 8 minutes. So we'll probably go fishing in the ocean of Enceladus, just because I've heard a lot about that, like with the intro. So let's do that one next. Oh, okay. That's a fun little bit of synth modulation. There's some rises in there. It sounds like Aliens, doesn't it? It does sound like Aliens, I'll give it that. Fun messing around with the LFOs. Great work, dude.
There were four of us, Robin Reed, Sepp and me, and the pig, and we were at the edge of a river called Bizan, just a little bit away from home.
It's nice to have that little extra bar or two just to have space before the next stanza. You know, you can have an extended storytelling section, but sometimes the listener just needs a bit of time, and Andrea Pizzo and the Purple Mice know that. They know that. I keep pressing the wrong button. I'm supposed to press the space bar. Nice drum fill there, eh? The drums are really low key aside from those cymbals. I'm wondering if that was a deliberate decision with the filtering there or not. No, there's more of a tom focus on those percussion actually. I'm wondering how they're getting the flickering, like I'm wondering how they're getting that sound. I'm kind of fascinated by it. It's very low in the vocal range, isn't it?
When the youngest guy suggested to do something strong and something new, why don't we leave for a space trip? We can simply drive a ship away.
That was nice to hold that note there into that transition to the additional bar, that little sort of bridge section, if you will, that transitory event. It's unexpected, you know, like there is a bit of experimentation going on within Go Fishing in the Ocean of Enceladus from like a compositional standpoint. And I like that while we've got these main themes present throughout, we're having fun with, again, with the expectations of the listener. We're not keeping it predictable, there's change. Oh, see what I mean? What is happening here, dude? We got the organ coming back in.
And we pass the atmosphere, and we are going for the empty space. We are reaching the other planet in the ocean of Enceladus.
Wow, dude. There are some bands from like the 70s and 80s that this is going to be vibes of. But unfortunately, I can't really name the names. And even if I did, I'm like sort of like cautious about naming them because I don't want to make myself look ignorant. Basically, what I'm saying is they need to go listen to more music that sounds like this so I can become more familiar with it because I love it. By the way, Enceladus. Cool. Before we go any further, I like the dynamic range with the vocals as well from both singers within this piece so far. If there weren't, or if I haven't missed someone, you know, like the mixing and mastering, like the compression limiting on this album so far has been fantastic. But also there's a difference in the perceived loudnesses between certain parts, which keep it sounding so almost relaxing to listen to. Like you're engaged, you're in the world that Andrea Pizzo and the Purple Mice have provided for you, but at the same time it never becomes abrasive and never starts to give you a headache or anything like that. Because there's change in that perceived loudness. Your ears get a break every once in a while, you know? That organ is fun as well. It's kind of mirroring some of the ideas that the vocals are putting forward, but putting its own spin on it in the call and response factor, you know. But it's not just without the vocals, it's with the vocals. So it's a bit of a masterstroke, really, with everything that's going on. There's some finesse showing in regards to musicianship here. A little bit of fizziness in some of the tracks, but that's okay. I can kind of tell it's been recorded on an analog disc, and I've got all the time for that, dude. It's nice the bass guitarist is allowed to explore his range like that. And the call and response when there's a gap. He's not being they're not being limited.
They started to fight it with a rage that gave a meaning to everything. In fact, they beat the scary creature and they took it back to
Soprano! Space Soprano! I remember this. What was the name? Oh, Antonella Suella is Space Soprano. As well as Riccardo Morello and Roberto Taranti. It works really well here, actually. I'm going to talk about why that is in a second, but we'll just enjoy it.
Leaving the dark ocean of Enceladus.
We're slowing down here. No, I was enjoying the vibe of that. Enceladus. I was enjoying the vibe of that. I was actually kind of liking that track. I'm going to give that a heart. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like a track that's gotten a lot of love, but I think it's one of the most artistically creative ones yet, you know? Talking about going fishing on a big adventure, and it's so peaceful, and it sounds like you're traveling through space to find that. And then you've got that space soprano kind of singing you along as you fly through the stars. It's so cool, dude. It's such cool music. It's such creative, fun stuff. And I enjoy it. It sounds like it all fits together. It's carefully considered. It's articulate. And the words are coming through clearly. And there's constant change with the music. And not just sitting on one theme for the whole entire song. There's more than that. But yeah, well done. We've got 2 more tracks though. I think I was going to do Masters of the Galaxy and Road to Universe. Just, because, yeah, Masters of the Galaxy is a pretty dope title. And apparently Road to Universe is also a well-recommended one. So let's go. Masters of the Galaxy. What do we got? We're going to do drum bass or something like this. This sounds like it go into a drum bass song, my dudes and dudettes. Yeah, we could totally go into drum bass off of this. We're going to go into EDM in the early 2010s. Oh, no, well done. I was totally going to start beatboxing like dubstep then, but this is better. For obvious reasons.
When life was formed in the ocean of Venus, we saw you fighting to survive, and we learned to bend space and time.
Oh, dude, I gotta admit, it's got that driving force to it, but it's also really gentle. It's like they've balanced out the intensity of the percussion with that smoothness and silkiness of the guitar tone. It's actually kind of driving forward. It's kind of like reminds me of some hard rock. Like it's got some. What do I want to sort of describe it to? I'm not really sure what to compare it to. It's been such a trip, this one. Yeah, it's almost, you know, we've got these really sort of intense choruses to contrast with these kind of oscillated guitar parts, cleaner sort of guitar parts in the verses. Stereo panned really nicely, it syncs around the headphones. Are there some harmonized guitars in there? And back to the chorus. I see what we're trying to do here. I get it. It's a catchy as hell single. I gotta admit it. I think that the reason I called the distorted guitar smooth is because the distortion itself is very, very smooth. Outside of these reviews, a lot of the stuff I listen to is quite ferocious. I like a lot of different types of light metal. And it's not like, oh, this isn't heavy or anything like that. This has got some heaviness to it. It's got some power. It's got some force to it. It's just that we're not throwing in flat second intervals or anything, and we're not trying to have the edgiest kind of guitar tone we can possibly find. It's meant to be more of a flowing range, so spout of energy, this chorus. And the punchiness comes from the vocals in this one, I think. You know, it's catchy as hell. You know, we are the guardians of the galaxy, the masters of the galaxy. It needs to be this huge sounding. It needs to be in your face. It needs to sound massive in order for it to be meaningful. Nice call and response. Well done with that modulation. Only Andrea Pizzo can get away with that kind of high, man. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I think it was cool to get up that high in that range, and it sounded really, really comfortable. At the same time, I'm glad we didn't hold that really high note longer than that. I think it's impressive enough for it to then cut out. You could have potentially put like a repeater on that and kind of had it sit a little bit more in the mix with a nice little bit of extra reverb or something. But it's great. Now it's a catchy song. Very, very different to Go Fishing in the Oceans of Enceladus or Potatoes on Mars or Song of Nothing. A little bit more similar to Keep On Searching. But I totally thought we were going to go into a drum bass track at the start of the say, I'm not going to lie. And I'm not disappointed. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Masters of the Galaxy. I'll give them a heart for that too, because I know that they're really trying. I have to appreciate the work they put into each of these tracks. The final one for today is Road to Universe. Oh, that pinch harmonic was one of the spiciest pinch harmonics I've heard in an incredibly long time. Damn, dude. It's stank, man. It's got that stank face. That's a pinch harmonic, my dudes and dudettes.
And mathematic laws, I had a fuzzy dream. I found a magic door that overrides physics and take us to the goal. Now becoming spaceman, living through the galaxy, set to the infinity. Now becoming spaceman, set up the discovery on the road to reality.
Cool. I'm glad that we're not forcing these choruses to go into neat little groups of 4 bars. We're letting the structure of it follow the repeaters that we need to, you know, talking about like the road to the universe and everything like that. We're trying to just let it be more of a through composed performance while still attempting to cater to the verse chorus structure.
It has lasted for more than 2 millennia. But the love of surprises and an extraordinary inside.
Road to reality. Spaceman on the road to reality. Making their way through the galaxy. It's interesting stuff. I was tripping from him because I was like, wait, am I more deaf on my right ear than my next? But they were panning it lower and lower each time. Oh, piano part.
So I drive my spaceship into the sky and browsing through the stars. Investigate relations that show better theory.
We've got these key changes going on here, or there are some parallel majors and minors going on. I think this has been very subtle throughout. We've employed some jazzy transitions going through here, in line with the funkiness of stuff like Among the Stars, which again, go check out Among the Stars if you haven't already. It's a great track. Oh, I wasn't expecting us to go straight back into that. Can we have a listen back to that transition there? I just want to make sure I have that right.
And I guess the beauty of magic and what we are. Now I'm coming space.
That felt too sudden to me. That felt like we could have, we know that we can do an extra bar if we need to. I feel like we could have had an extra bar in there just to, because we had time before the 3-minute 30 mark. We've tried to keep a few of these under 3 minutes 30.
Living through the galaxy, set to the infinity. Now I'm coming spaceman, set up the discovery on the road to reality. Till the end of space and time.
That's a fun idea, having these really extreme pan delays. And that guitar, man. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't heard anything like this throughout my time doing these reviews. And I've got to hand it to Andrea Pizzo and the Purple Mice. Like, for them to throw something at me that I haven't really heard a lot of at this point, or at all, is an actual accomplishment. I reviewed thousands of songs at this point. I am very thankful with the opportunity to review Potatoes on Mars, because this is effectively the conclusion of Andrea Pizzo and the Purple Mice's Potatoes on Mars. Now, I listened to 6 tracks today. I listened to Keep On Searching, Song of Nothing, Among the Stars, Potatoes on Mars, Go Fishing in the Ocean in Enceladus, and Road to Universe. I think Road to the Universe was more about flying away in that spaceship and trying to find the way back or the way forward, the way towards a better future or something like that, or trying to find a sense of purpose in those travels that you're making after all the stuff you did with like Go Fishing in the Ocean, Enceladus and stuff like that. You know, that's my best guess of what these are about. I try to go into these album reviews knowing as little as possible about the music so that I can get a fresh take on them. And while I may have missed important parts of information with these songs, I feel as if I'm not completely wrong with most of them. I talked about the various stories of the tracks with each track that I listened to and reviewed. But the overall concept of this album, I think, is about people, being on Earth, realizing they need to move somewhere to have a better chance at a better life, moving to Mars, and maybe finding a better future or finding a new sense of self there. Maybe some really wacky shenanigans happen along the way, I'm not sure. But it was an interesting time nonetheless, and it was good to be able to listen to the start as we chronologically went through to the end. You know, we have musicians here who are clearly capable of writing fantastic music, and they structure these songs so well. Some of them got that traditional ABA structure, the verse, chorus, verse. But there are these instrumental intros and outros that come along. You've got these lovely breaks in there. Some of these songs have solos. Some of these have just instrumental parts just in the middle, just with piano. And it's just unexpected. And then you have some really fascinating just choices creatively done. We don't just have, again, as I mentioned, we don't just have those groups of 4 bars per chorus. We structure the verses and the chorus to suit the needs of the story and the amount of words and sentences that are involved. And I think that flexibility makes for a unique experience on that alone. Andrea Pizzo as a vocalist, as well as everyone else involved that I mentioned earlier, just sensational, dude. Just sensational. Again, quite a unique voice. I haven't really heard a lot of vocalists like it. And I think there has been a lot of work to get it to a point where the vocals sound as good as they do within the realms of the music. You know, I'm not sure how Andrea Pizzo's voice would sound with every single genre of music, but I feel like this is exactly where it needs to be in order for this to work. Much like the same comments can be made about, like, for instance, like Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, you know? And, you know, like, it just really, really works well within this kind of prog, rocky, funky, jazzy kind of almost hard rock metalish kind of vibe with the electronic ambient stuff that occurs occasionally. There's a wide variety of textures and tones, and Andrea shows tremendous vocal technique, hits those really high notes really well, has a nice range down the bottom as well, harmonizes cleanly, and is confident and emotes well through the performance, and it's very authentic. The instrumental performances on stage were phenomenal. You know, we had a wide range of instruments. We had organ parts, piano parts, guitar lead, rhythm lead, bass, drums, and other instruments involved. And it's just the wide variety of textures and tones and colorations within the overall, the overall arrangement, that they made sense. We had bits where there was less and bits where there was more, so it wasn't everything full bore the whole time. And whenever we took a risk, it paid off, I think, for the sake of assisting the story along, or just being something that kind of piques your interest and doesn't let it go. There wasn't a note out of place as far as I could tell. I could tell that all the instruments were played organically and acoustically. They weren't programmed. We didn't program the drums or program the vocals or anything like that. It all sounds very natural, and that's something to appreciate in this day and age, because a lot of people are sort of phobic of allowing for there to be that rawness, that humanity to it. And for Andrea Pizzo, that just wasn't an option, and I think it worked very, very well. Finally, the production, the recording, mixing, and mastering was sensational. We had 6 unique tracks that were embellished with fantastic vocals and well-performed musical sort of recordings of the different instruments. And finally, it sounded commercially viable. I think that, like, if I was to be completely kind of pedantic about it, there were parts where I heard like there was something stereo panned to the extreme left where it sounded a bit loud, or it sounded like there could have been like points where I was like, oh, maybe you could have EQ'd that, gotten rid of a little bit of the low end in that, or you could have gotten made that a little bit less kind of sure, like you could have gotten rid of like a notch frequency and higher, you know. It's little things. It sounds fantastic as it is, you know, like you could be kind of really pedantic about the EQing stuff if you wanted to, but I think that Andrea Pizzo and team nailed it fantastically well. I'm happy with it. The effects change and instruments were great, and again, there was dynamic range to the recordings. It sounded nice and natural, and I think that they got the most out that they wanted to. And I really hope that Andrea Pizzo and the People Mice, I hope they told the story that they wanted to tell with this. I would recommend anybody watching this to listen through it from start till finish, including Jupiter and the Galilean Moons, which I'll probably listen to in my own time, because I love those long form tracks. It's just in a review like this, 9.5 minutes. If I was to do 9.5 minute tracks in my reviews, it would just mean that the reviews would be really, really long for a situation like an album like this. We had 11 tracks, you know what I mean? So it's okay, go listen to it in your own time, I certainly will. But thank you very much for watching this review of Andrea Pizzo's Potatoes on Mars. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Andrea some love via Andrea Pizzo some love via their various social medias and Spotify page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.